interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Yo, it's Remember the Show. Slick with the flows, where the sparring can go. Who's gonna be on, man, you never will know. Guess you better tune in, cause we live from Chicago. Belal Muhammad, that's the king of the tweets. Jason Anik looks like John, step his hands to his feet. Every Thursday, we gon' give you a treat. It's Remember the Show, hit play and repeat. And retweet, and retweet, and retweet. And retweet, it's Remember the Show, hit play and repeat.
What is up? Episode 75, Remember the Show. And those of you joining us live, we appreciate that you remembered the show tonight. That is Belal. Remember the name Muhammad, the UFC's fifth-ranked welterweight. I am Jason Anik. So, Bully, I'm not going to lie. I'm excited for the National Football League tonight. You can be sure as soon as we close shop, I will have my eyes on the pigskin. But the UFC gave us another gift. For those of you who don't know, the UFC 279 press conference canceled tonight. So, Bully, I just got a call from my brother, John. Apparently, Kevin Holland pushed Chimaev, right? And by the way, how are you, my good friend?
No, it's good. I'm good, but we got bigger news to be talking about.
I like giving love to my boy first off the top because it's always great to see your face. But anyway, apparently, Kevin Holland pushed Chimaev. Apparently, Chimaev kicked him in the leg, and shit was on, and it was a fight. And a fight broke out. They canceled it. What else have you heard? I mean, I know our boy Mero is on Twitter. I mean, what have you heard? Bananas.
Yeah, when I saw the tweets, I'm like, what the heck is going on? Then when they canceled, I said, dude, I don't think this has ever happened before. But so John was there, and did John see it live, or did he just hear it rumbling?
It's funny. So he was in an elevator, I guess, with the leech, and he heard it from the leech's translator. So, but John allegedly. But John is usually so buried in work that like 20 minutes after it happened, I texted him like, hey, just to let you know, in case you're, buried in your books that this happened, and sometimes, because I never know where he is, but I don't think he was in the building.
Yeah, you can just tell even before. I think there was a couple of interviews yesterday where Holland brought up Hamza, and he was just like, yeah, dude's fake. He's not the same, like behind the cameras, he's not the same as he is in front of cameras. And you could just tell that like it got into the media. So if it gets to Hamza's side, and he gets a hold of it, and then you see them both at the press conference, like neither one of them is shy to not say anything or talk to you guys. So I could see them trying to come at each other from after that saying so. And then Holland, they don't call him Big Mouth for nothing.
Yeah, right.
If he sees an opportunity to talk trash or say something, he's going to do it.
Absolutely. So, and Diaz is probably just like, I'm fucking out of here, whatever was going on,
Dude, as Dana, I know I was listening to the Dana White talk afterward, and he was just like, Hamza had over like 50 people with him. Diaz had like 50 people with him or something like that, like in their entourage. And you saw that like group picture that Nate Diaz had in the back, and he had like 50 people there, and it's going to be his last hurrah.
Right.
The UFC is obviously going to let him walk around with as many people as he wants, and they're both the main event. So they're walking around with a big entourage, and both entourages are probably not shy about talking trash or wanting to fight each other. So yeah, I mean, we got the big gangs in New York style fight right now at the UFC.
It's just nuts, man. And Dana was just saying, apparently not enough security, and I think Dana was pretty upset that they let it get to this point that he said, glad they stopped it. I think he wishes they could have prevented it.
Yeah, but if you're looking at this, it's like these guys we're some of the best fighters in the world. It's like security wise, you're like, all right, what kind of security guard am I going to hire to get in between the two fighters that want to fight each other? Right. And then if you're a security guard, and like a lot of they have some big security guards, but it's like a handful of guys, and most of them are just cool with the fighters in general. So you're not expecting the fighters to want to fight before getting a paycheck type thing. So you just wouldn't expect it unless there's like a Conor McGregor there or somebody with huge bad blood. Like I didn't think that these guys had that bad enough blood where they want to see each other and fight with each other backstage.
Not a lot of food in their bellies, though. No, I mean, something could be on edge.
That's another thing too. You're hangry. You're in weight cut day, and we were just talking about yesterday. Remember with Cody saying, "Can you throw a bite? Can you bite in a street fight?" And another thing too, where I told people all the time when I teach them street fighting, I'm like, bro, throw one leg kick in a street fight. The guy's not gonna know what hit him. They're gonna be like, what the? You're leg kicking now? Like, what is that? Supposed to be getting each other in headlocks and pulling each other's shirts. Like the fact that it happens that through a leg kick in a street fight is hilarious.
I love it. And it's a good way to sort of protect yourself. You don't want to take any. And that's the thing I think about. Is like if I think my boy Belal back there, it's like Belal, just. Would you stop messing? Don't mess with nobody back there. It's like if I'm Kevin Holland in his corner, like you got someone next to him, be like, "Yo, It's
funny because I've had a couple times where when I was fighting Curtis Millender, he had a couple people with him that were like talking trash to me in the hotel, and then me, I'm the type that gets mad and I ain't gonna shy away from a street fight. But then I got Lou Taylor with me at my all times,
right?
And he was just like, "No, you go to the room. I'm gonna handle this." You don't have to fight. That's what I'm here for. Anybody wants to start something, that's what I'm here for. You wait for it for the cage. So it's like you have to have the right people around you in general, like to be smart and to not let you get hurt or anything. Because like who knows, like leg kicks, you're cutting weight, you don't have enough nutrition in you. So like a leg kick, maybe a calf kicked them or something. It's a certain bruise or something. You never know what happens from that leg kick. If it affects Holland in the fight, and then you're gonna think back or give an excuse afterward, like, oh, it was because of that leg kick that I caught from him. It gave me a bruise and it's hurting, blah, blah, blah. You never know nowadays. Like we've seen the bus incident with McGregor, and you don't want to see a card like this. It's kind of thin. At the top with just the bigger name guys. So you don't want to see one of the bigger name guys have to pull out because of a stupid gang fight.
Great point. Looking out for the promotion. So Nate Diaz, man, like, is this really gonna be his last? Yeah, Cody Mara, our producer, just tweeted Tony versus Diaz. Let's go. I think he's been wanting that to happen. But so, dude, Diaz, hard to get off. So he's got his own promotion, Real Fight Inc. His tweet: real ninjas, real fighters, real shit. Real Fight Inc. Like this dude, man. I know a lot of these guys have promotions out there. For Faber has A1 Combat. I know Masvidal, Pettis has a promote. These guys are getting into the game, but this guy has a big following, man. It's hard not to think anything he touches is going to turn to gold, man. He really got a big crowd around him.
Yeah, especially if you're thinking about what's next too. Like he's the type that, all right, well, if I do get a Jake Paul fight or a boxing fight, it's going to be under his promotion. I could see him doing that or co-promoting with it. So it's going to blow up like something that like Masvidal or like Anthony Pettis and them didn't do. Like they're not going to fight under their promotion, or they're not going to get one of those big fights under their co-promoting with their promotion. Like Anthony's with PFL, Masvidal's still with the UFC, but Nate's the only one on his own right now. So like he could do that co-promotion type thing, style fight. And it could blow up off of that.
I hear you. All right, so we're going to move on through these topics. We might get a very welcome interruption. But so Michael Chandler, Dustin Poirier. I mean, giddy up, man. Madison Square Garden, UFC 281, November 12th. I think that's a great time we can celebrate your 9-fight unbeaten streak. Cody's already there. We can do a live Remember the Show. But this fight, dude, I can't wait.
Dude, this fight is crazy. Like when you heard him talking about it, and it's like, every fight fan, they like this. These are the fighters they want to see. This, like, they're both the most action-packed fighters. Like, I think somebody put it out there, and it was like Eddie Alvarez, Michael Chandler, Dustin Poirier, and Justin Gaethje. Like they've all like the 4 most violent or 5 most violent guys to ever fight, and they've all fought each other. So now we finally get to see this one with these two guys, and there's a little bit bad blood now, and both of them, Chandler's riding high right now. Poirier coming off of a loss, albeit to the champ, but Poirier's never in a boring fight, and Poirier always bounces back off of a loss. He never goes back-to-back losses. So, and this is right now with how big their names are, the winner could be fighting for the title next. Absolutely.
So I haven't seen odds for this, and Cody, maybe they're out there or not. Billy, would you lean one way or another right now if I forced you to lean?
If I'm leaning, had they said it was a 5-rounder or a 3-rounder?
I should know what the main card is on November 12th. Has that been announced?
I think the main event is Izzy against Pereira. But sometimes they do bigger fights like this. Will be a 5-round fight. So 3-round fight. Both of them come out super hard. Chandler, I don't think nobody comes out harder than him in the first round. But 5-round fight, I'll be leaning Poirier. 3-round fight, it's gonna be a barn burner. It's gonna be a war. I don't even want to make a pick.
Well, speaking of coming out hard, ladies and gentlemen, joining us now. He was the first ever Strikeforce lightweight champion. Dude has 10 UFC bonuses on his record. Absolute legend of mixed martial arts. There he is in all his glory, the Carpenter.
How we doing, fellas?
What an honor. What's up, Clay?
I wish I could hear you guys. I can see you, but I can't hear you. It's super, super quiet. Let me see. Microphone, hold on.
We hear you good. You
We
look
hear
great.
you hear us at all or no?
Hold on. I'm trying to go to a little better lit place and a little loud. Better audio.
Is there no hair under that hat?
How is this, guys?
No.
That's great, except is there no hair under your hat?
I can't hear you guys very well, unfortunately. Can you guys hear me?
We hear you
Yeah, we
good.
can hear you.
If you can't hear us, though, we'll reconnect.
Mr. Anik, Belal, I can't.
All right.
We'll put you on.
Cody,
I'll text you right now.
Yeah, text me, and I'm going to text you right now.
All right.
Hold on.
And I'm gonna figure out if he cut it. Did he cut his hair? I mean, I guess I don't know if he's on social media and I haven't seen pictures, but
No, I don't think he cut his hair. I think
it's just.
I think
it's
there's a little
just
bit of a mullet he changed it a bit too, but like I don't think it's
Interesting.
fully cut at all.
I was gonna say, yeah, our director thinks he needs to turn the phone volume up on his phone. But dude, Chandler Poirier, man, I got to find a way up to Madison Square Garden.
Yeah,
but all these fights, man. Like I wish I was in Vegas now.
$900 a ticket, bro. It sucks.
For a seat or a flight.
No, a seat.
Oh
shit, a flight. $250, maybe.
You're Jason Anik. You don't need no tickets. He ain't paying for no tickets.
Yeah. That name.
Just walk in with a ball cap and an attitude, like motherfuckers. I'm late.
Well,
I need to get in.
You know, I'd be better off going as Bruce Buffer's +1. You know, the time I went to Apex with Buffer, that was where I was just sort of hanging out with him, going to get breakfast or whatever. You know, you go in where they go in to get food. You know, Bully, you're around there. Yeah. You go in to get food, and then you're just sort of walking into the arena, and you're just there.
Fellas.
Yo, could you hear us now?
Hello?
No?
It's still the same, guys.
We'll get you on the future.
If we man.
Yeah, that's all right.
It's
you
all
look
good,
great.
brother.
We'll do it again. We'll do it again.
Turn your phone up on the side.
You think that's all it is, Cody?
Yeah. Like the phone volume of like the browser.
Well, I'll text him that, right? It's all right.
It's all good.
You want to just text him?
Yeah, I'll text him.
Time? He looked great. Oh, I was excited to talk to him. But anyway, we're moving on. Cody, at your convenience, you can drop those topics back on the screen. But
I'm still. You can just keep talking about. I'm holding out tight.
You're holding out for Clay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, so I'm gonna just
figure it out.
All right, I like that. So I'm gonna just move on, right? And I'm gonna Cody, I'm gonna hold off on one of our topics because I think we might want some graphics. But so, Bully, normally a fight like this, a boxing match, Jake Paul, Anderson Silva, has a place in my who cares folder. I don't, you know me, I don't like the fights for entertainment. I like when Belal Muhammad fights for the championship belt because he doesn't lose in 3 years. Anyway, so this fight though, at 187 pounds, 8 rounds, 3 rounds, Spider Silva, for me, like you're getting my money here. I can't wait to see Anderson Silva fight. Yeah,
this one right here, like honestly, you have to respect Jake Paul for taking a real opponent on, and you could obviously T Woodley was a real opponent.
Nothing, fellas.
I hear you.
No audio.
He can't hear us.
Bill,
that's all right.
No.
It's all good, brother.
Yeah, nothing.
It's all good, man.
There's no audio.
0 for 3 with a walk. It's all right.
We'll try next time, dudes.
All
right, bro.
Thank you, man.
I think you said, should I just try no audio? I was like, all right. But no, yeah, like you have to respect him for this, But Woodley, Askren, none of those guys were boxers. When you look at a guy like Anik Silva, some of his best attributes were his hands, the way he moves. He fought a real boxer in Cesar Chavez Jr., his last fight, and the guy was a legit boxer. The guy went toe-to-toe with Canelo Alvarez. He got dominated, but like he didn't get finished by Canelo Alvarez. So the way that Anik Silva beat him at his age, like it's exciting to see. And it just makes me think about what would have happened if Anderson Silva fought Roy Jones Jr. when he was when he was at the top of his game, and they were talking about it and they were thinking about it. Like obviously Roy Jones was a monster and like next level, but like Anderson back then, dude, I put him up against anybody.
I hear you. And I wish I wasn't as much of a fanatic back then to appreciate it as much as I think I would if I had been, locked in, as I'm sure you and our director Cody Merrow were. Speaking of director Cody Merrow, our next topic, he is particularly frosted about this. So ESPN did a poll of the best fighter at each age, right? So it began with Glover Teixeira at age 42, obviously just won the belt at 42. But 34-year-old bracket, no mention of the best 34-year-old fighter on the planet, Belal. Remember the name Muhammad? So now
was it?
Cody. And if it's just audio, that's fine. But so Amanda Nunes, right? Everyone else was a champion or former champion, I will say, right?
Nunes, Shevchenko, Davison Figueiredo, Conor McGregor, and Carlos Esparza. 34.
Well, that's 34.
34.
Yeah. And I looked at 33 and there were no votes for Bully either. So, I was playing both sides of the coin there. I don't know when the article's from.
Well, you and McGregor are the same age, so I think there's a future fight between the two of you at some point down the road, and maybe some future boxing. That's the thing about fighters now. The game is changing a lot. There's a lot of opportunities to get in there and scrap. My brother's always trying to get Kenny Florian back in there to do something. He's like, no fucking way,
Yeah, like if there's anybody that I could see coming back, I could see it being Paul Felder. I know
he always wants to come back. He
was thinking about it. He's always talking about he's intimidated, but like he always says like, if it's a big fight, if there's a fight in Philly or it's gonna be don't give me a contender, don't give me one of the guys that want to make a name off me. Give me like a Tony Ferguson or Nate Diaz, somewhere along those lines, and I'll do it. And I want to see how Paul Felder, this new Paul Felder, triathlon Paul Felder, would do, because even against the RDA fight, he looked very good, and that fight was 4 days notice, something like that, and he still had to cut a lot of weight, but he was in good enough shape to go out there with RDA. Who was taking him down, and Paul was still getting up. And no matter what, Paul is going to be in any fight.
And I'm paraphrasing, but you talk about if you have cardio, your fear almost goes away, but for lack of a better way of saying it, right? I mean,
yeah, exactly. And you see it with the Diaz brothers, where they were some of the first guys to do triathlons and be triathletes, and they had chins of chins, but everybody has a chin, but if you have good cardio to back up with that chin, that just picks up your chin, your strength 10 times more. So probably a lot of the times where they get hit, it's because their cardio is so good and they're such in great shape that they'll be able to go through these wars and these battles and take these hard punches from a lot of these guys because their cardio is so great.
Well, anyway, I'm going to close out that topic by just saying that's some bullshit. Anyway, so this next topic, Belal. So I have bet on I'm a New England Patriots fan. I have bet on the under 8.5 wins for the Patriots. I think the Patriots are going to struggle. I think it's going to be a rough year. But a lot of the pundits out there who know a lot more than me think the Bears are going to struggle more than the Patriots. So we sort of ask you, I know they got a handful of nice pieces, but maybe just one handful, which I think is the problem. Not a very deep roster from what I'm hearing. So I've heard some optimism on sports radio, but talk to me. How many wins? And elaborate on what your sort of forecast is for your football team. But how many wins do the Bears ultimately get in 2022?
Honestly, we looked good our last preseason game. Fields looked good. I feel like, he's coming into his own a little bit. I think we're going to see a lot better version of him this year. I'm looking at maybe 9 to 10 wins. I'm hoping.
Okay.
I could see that happening. And it obviously our schedule, we get to play the Lions twice. So I think we're going to get a couple wins there. Green Bay is always hard, but Green Bay lost a lot of their weapons. Aaron Rodgers doesn't have any weapons right now, and we always play them good too. So I think we can get a couple of wins. The Vikings aren't looking that good. Our division is not the greatest right now, I don't think. And we get eke out a couple of those wins from there, get a couple of those, and then I'm thinking maybe 10.
So Vegas has it at 6. So Belal Muhammad, all you gamblers out there, pound the Bears over.
Really? 6?
Cody just posted it. That's what it is. But anyway, the fight coming up, the fight card this weekend, the top 3 fights I can't wait to get to in the Bullies Bick. So Cody, if you'd be so kind, let's roll. So sometimes I go off on a little tangent, and I have to say in the opening of the show, every time when Cody's like, hit play and repeat, hit play. It's like I have to do everything in my power not to just start saying that. So Cody, hey, it's in my head still. However many episode 75, huh? How about that? And
We're still out here chugging.
Yeah, Anik and Florian Podcast. They're approaching 365, which is a pretty cool number. A podcast for every day of the week. But anyway, we're chugging along. Cody, got to get us on UFC Fight Pass. Oh, and he pops his face on.
I'm here.
Welcome, freshman.
Freshman.
Well, no, you're young. Look at me. I'm white hair. I just, there used to be a show called Welcome Freshman, probably before you were born.
It's got like a Corliss Valerian look if you're watching House of the Dragon. Bully into that?
I watched the first episode. I haven't watched any of the other ones yet.
Yeah, it's good.
They're good? Yeah, the first episode was good. I just haven't gotten back to it yet.
Yeah, I tried to watch the Amazon Prime on Lord of the Rings. Sorry, great tangent here for MMA fans, but I'm trying to pull up the odds. Not very good. Lord of the Rings series on Amazon took like $1 billion.
Yeah, I haven't watched it.
You guys watched Ted Lasso? You guys ever seen Ted Lasso?
Oh yeah, you did tell me about that show. Yeah.
I started watching it recently. And I was an actor back in the day, right? So it's in Britain, right? So you got British accents all day. It's like, so I half the time I walk around my house talking with a Boston accent. I got my little kids like learning how to say like hi, how are ya, like how we say it from Boston. But I'm like walking around my house talking to my kids in a British accent. I'm like reading books in accent. They want nothing to do with me after watching Ted Lasso. But it's a lot like the Patty Pimblett thing. I'm not kidding. He is articulate, and I could listen to that accent all day. Give me Darren Till. I'll listen to Darren Till talk till I'm blue in the face.
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
I was like, if we would have got Darren Till on now, that would have been like perfect. I had him thinking about it. I was like, after this freaking brawl, we could have got an inside scoop of what's going on back there.
Right? Oh, dude.
Yeah, that would be afraid. Cool.
Anyway, so
he fucking came at me right now. I was like, "Oh, you're not gonna fucking get me, mate." Something like that,
Right, except we wouldn't understand it.
Yeah, I was trying.
So interesting for the 3 Bics tonight: 2 at welterweight and 1 at a catchweight. But both is Daniel Rodriguez a welterweight, by the way?
Yeah, he's a welterweight. That's the one at a catchweight.
That's catchweight, 180, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
I don't love the catchweight anyway. But we're doing 3 Bics, but the first one is catchweight. So first one fight for us. I can't wait for this. I think Cody has something to say about this one. You can be sure. But Kevin Holland getting the respect in Vegas, not huge respect. Bully, start us off. Break it down. Pick it.
Yeah, honestly, this is an exciting fight. I was surprised when they booked it a couple last second. Maybe that's why I said a catchweight. Holland. Obviously, coming down from 185, he had a good run at 185 until he fought grapplers. Against strikers, he always does well. Daniel Rodriguez himself is a pretty good striker. He looked good against Kevin Lee. I think he took that fight on short notice, his last one. And he basically pieced him up on the feet. He's a tricky southpaw. I think Kevin Holland said that he's a pretty good street fighter or something like that. So he has street fight boxing. But I think he's better than that. He has really good kicks. His grappling is not bad too. I think that he has a couple of submission wins under his belt. I'm not sure if he's a black belt or not, but he's pretty slick. I think Kevin Holland just has kind of a tricky style. He's very long, but I just feel like against the upper echelon guys, and where I think Rodriguez is up there with it. I think he has a lot of hype behind him. He's been working with some great strikers. Joe Schilling, basically his whole career. I think that he's going to have the answer to everything that Holland brings. Holland has he burst in, burst out, kind of like karate style, but he's been getting pieced up a little bit at 170 since he's come down. I know that he won 2 dominant wins, but Tim Means had a couple of shots land hard on him. And before that, Oliveira landed a couple hard shots on him, won the first round. So I think that Rodriguez is younger than those guys, a lot hungrier than those guys. I think Rodriguez comes out in victory here.
I love it. And Cody, before we get to you, he also didn't just get in a fight with Chimaev in the back.
Also, he didn't take a leg kick from Chimaev.
Yeah, exactly. And who knows what took place after? I can't even imagine. Bronstetter had a tweet out there that Cody could probably dig up in a minute, but just about how the emotionally charges back there were just nuts. Anyway, Cody, I think you might go ahead.
Yeah, no, I love to hear when I have the same exact opinion as Bully, because it makes me feel good about the pick. Because when this got announced, no matter what the weight, I mean, D-Rod's huge. And I just think the size for D-Rod, is going to be a big advantage in this fight. Not that he's going to be one to take it to the clinch or take it to the ground or anything like that, but I do think he's advantageous in those positions. Is Kevin Holland going to try and play jiu-jitsu with D-Rod? I don't think so. It's going to stay a striking match. I think D-Rod has the better boxing, and I think he's big. He has a better chance to finish him. So I like D-Rod too. And at plus 165, I mean, there's nothing that tells me this shouldn't be close to a pick 'em or plus 125 or something down there. But I love D-Rod at plus 165, especially.
Well, and it was minus 200 and it moved a bit, right? Or you moved it a little already. So it could, and who knows? A little scrum in the back could move it a little bit too. Moving on to the co-main event. And Bully, before we pick this, I'm just curious, like McGregor tweeted out a picture of like Ferguson at 155 and 170 and like laughing or whatever. But like, what do you think when you see Tony at 170 physically compared to 155? You like what you see?
I do like what I see. I don't think that there's an issue with that. I think he's fought at 170 before. And when you're looking at the guys like at 170, I'm not a biggest 170 pounder. And when you're looking at guys like Khamzat and the Kamaru Usman, like those guys are pretty big for the weight class. But, I think that's when cardio plays a factor into it. Cutting all that weight starts draining you a little bit more and more. And that's why I think that I'd rather be happier and have more cardio and be able to push for a lot longer. Tony, we saw him when you're at 55 and you lost 4 or 5 in a row to the top guys. It's not like he's losing to bumps. He lost to the top of the top. He wants to be a champion. He's not in it just to be in it. And you can just tell his mindset's different. So I think that he just wants to try something new now. He's moving up. Maybe it's better for him. Maybe it helps his chin out a little bit more. I don't know if he was cutting a lot of weight to 155. But in general, weight cutting is never fun, never a good time for anybody. And for a guy who's been doing it his whole career, I think that the move up could be a good thing for him. Even when I was listening, because I was going to have one of the categories for the game show be like funny Tony Ferguson quotes. And did Tony say it or did Chael Sonnen say it type quotes? And I was like listening to his quotes. A lot of them are I'm going to go up to 170 and be a double champ. He's always been talking about it from the beginning of his career. He always wanted to be a double champ. So it's always been in his head, I think, to go up to 170 once at welterweight.
I like it. So if it feels like the Leech fought recently, it's because he did July 16th, a win over a tough Muslim Salikov. He's 34-2, Bully, by the way. No mention of him on ESPN either. So Tony's lost 4 in a row. I just hope he has a great night and breaks through at 170. Cody, lead us off. Who do you got?
I mean, how can you not hope for that? I mean, Tony Ferguson at one point was the boogeyman of the division, and who knows, the weight cut when you get that old at some point, and maybe not that old, but the amount of wars that Tony Ferguson's been in at 155, those have got to take a toll. So the weight cut can't hurt, or the lack of weight cut can't hurt. So I don't think that's a huge factor, but it's interesting looking at the stats because Tony Ferguson has a 5-inch reach advantage, even though he's been down at 155. And the Leech has a 60% takedown defense. So not that Tony's going to be the biggest wrestler or anything like that, but if Tony has an easy path to victory, it's taking down the Leech and getting him something dangerous on the ground. I mean, remember at one point, Tony was one of the best and most unorthodox grapplers in the game. That 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu, crazy Imanari rolls, a lot of, different leg attacks, things like that. Like, who's to say we don't see a vintage Tony come out there and just free-flowing, more loose. I like Tony Ferguson at this too, especially plus 250. Like, I love rooting for Tony Ferguson. If I'm going to place a bet and sit here and root for somebody, it's going to be Ferguson. But let me say, just because you're coming up to 170, Tony, doesn't mean that you're the sunglass king of this division, because we already got one of those.
I love it.
Yeah, I feel like, Li Jingliang is like the perfect guy for Tony to come up to. Because there's a clear path to victory. I think if he takes him down, he has the clear advantage on the ground. On the feet, even Li Jingliang, he didn't really look that great against Muslim Salikov. It was a close fight all the way until he caught him. And he throws big, wide punches. Tony, he sees those punches. They're easier to see, so maybe he could shoot underneath them. Like I said, the Imanari roll, those are slick takedowns, different takedowns that don't take a lot of energy. And Tony has energy for days. So if you're a guy like Lee who, I don't know who he's training with, but there's probably not a guy like Tony Ferguson at his gym just because Tony's so weird. But like Cody was saying earlier about the wars Tony was in, Tony was always good, not because stylistically he wasn't like a Anderson Silva in his prime where he'll just dodge your punches or 1 inch away back out. Like Tony would take your hardest punches and he'll just let you hit him until you end up getting tired or breaking down. And you're like, I hit this guy with the hardest thing and he's still standing in front of me. And these guys eventually break. And I think that's why nowadays you see Tony on the decline so fast. Because after that Justin Gaethje fight, you're like, man, what happened to Tony? What happened to Tony? I think, the chin catches up to you. That style catches up to you. Your body breaks down. And you can't do that same thing of just walking forward, taking everybody's hardest punches at all time. Like, you could be so tough for so long. And I just think that I do hope he wins. I do hope he wins just because it's always fun seeing Tony here and seeing him at a press conference because everybody's talking about, is this Nate Diaz's last fight in the UFC? If Tony loses here, that's 6 in a row. And then, like I said, Tony's mindset is I want to be a champion. I want to be the best of the best. What did he say? I'm the best of all times. Like the best of all time doesn't lose 6 in a row. And you don't want to be that guy that loses 6 in a row. So if you lose here, you retire.
I'm with you. And you think about Cerrone and Tyron Woodley. I mean, some of these streaks that take them out that aren't great. Moving on to the main event of the evening. So Nate Diaz, right? You know, John got a tattoo many years ago, right? And I wish I had the tattoo, right? What people don't remember, what people don't remember is that when he said that he would get that tweet, I don't remember, it was the first meeting. If you recall, it was if he would get the 209 tattoo if McGregor lost to Diaz in that first meeting. And I'll never forget sitting there with John watching it, just the two of us. And I was like, Diaz is going to fucking win. Like, shut your damn mouth. This was 10, 12 years ago, whatever. It was a long time ago. Anyway, I He gets Khamzat Chimaev. This line is stupid. Chimaev 5-0 in the UFC. And Bully, you may not love us, but my brother John calls Chimaev the best prospect he's seen in the UFC. He's not alone in that sentiment. So most recently beat Gilbert Burns in Jacksonville. The electricity in that building for that fight was indescribable. Although Paris last weekend, honestly, topped anything I'd ever seen. I just honestly hope this isn't a doctor stoppage. Like I hope the bleeding doesn't define this night. I haven't bet on mixed martial arts in 2022 until this week when I saw Nate Diaz plus 940. You're giving me almost 10-1 on Nate Diaz against Chimaev. I can't wait to hear you guys break it down. It's since gone down to 750 or whatever. I can still get it where I play over 800. I'm done talking. Belal, start us off. Break it down. Talk to me.
It's funny. I just saw a video like on Twitter of the whole tattoo bet, and then Nate saying like, "John better get that motherfucking tattoo, or I'm gonna beat him up," or something like that. So it was like the whole sequence of it was hilarious. It was a great one. I was gonna post it on Instagram, but that was so cool. Like John's the man just for doing it. You retweeted it?
Yeah, from the podcast.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, you retweeted it. I was like, man,
like
everywhere.
When Nate gets on the mic and he's like, "I'm not surprised, motherfuckers. I'm sitting next to the biggest motherfucker in the world in that moment." Excuse my language.
But yeah, for this fight right here, I mean, obviously there's not an easy path to victory for Nate. There's certain things he could do. And I did like a breakdown show with Brett Okamoto, and he's like, What are the keys to victory for Nate? I think some of the keys to victory for Nate are you gotta get Chimaev into a dogfight. You gotta get his ego involved. I think if he comes out there, slaps him right away, it's gonna make Chimaev mad. Go out there, give him the middle finger right away. Don't let him just come in there, kind of like how Nick was against George St. Pierre, where George just took him down at will, and then Nick would just like stay down there, try to roll for a leg. Nick would try to roll for a leg lock, and you're like, what is Nick doing? Like, he's just letting him take him down, control him on the ground. And I just don't want to see Nate do that because Chimaev is not just going to hold you on the ground like GSP. Like Chimaev is going to Dagestani handcuff you and just start pounding your face in, and it's going to be bad for you. So like if I'm Nate, I'm going to do everything in my power to get under Chimaev's skin. Walk out there, spit at him, do something just to make it just a street fight standing up. Like you have to get past the second round. If you're Nate Diaz, then it's like, all right, I got past this hard storm right away. Now it's my world. Now it's it's the third round. This is where Chimaev starts getting a little bit tired. We saw him in the Gilbert Burns fight, albeit it was a war. But if he comes out to the first two rounds, no matter what, he comes out hard. And if he comes out there beating up Nate for those 2 rounds and Nate still survives, all right, now it's the third round and he's looking across and he still sees Nate there giving him the middle finger with blood all over his face. You're going to be a little bit tired. I don't care who you are. And you still got 3 more rounds to go after that. That's when these Diaz brothers catch you. That's when they don't have the hardest punches, but they have precise punches where they'll land it right on your chin, where you see Leon Edwards winning for 4 rounds straight. And all of a sudden, all it takes is 1 punch and then you get rocked. Do I think it's going to happen? No. Do I hope it's going to happen? Yes. For me, I think if I'm looking at it, like I think they showed the Nate body, the pictures of Nate's body for his last like 5 or 6 fights. Like he didn't look like he trained at all for this fight. He didn't look like He's in the shape where you're like, oh man, this guy wants to be a champion. This guy wants to win. He's looking a little bit pudgy, looking a little bit heavy. And sometimes that can be good for you. I've had fighters, guys that I train with in the gym, where they take a short notice fight and it's their best fight because they don't have no care in the world. They don't care about winning or losing. And those guys with no care, they fight the freest. They're the happiest. So like they don't really care at all whether I win or lose. And the fact that Nate has nothing to lose and Chimaev has everything to lose could also be a huge factor in this. I'm picking Chimaev, but I think Nate he's the live dog here.
I mean, exactly. And that's why, like, I couldn't resist, like, out of respect for the 209, drop a little bit. It's I just can't believe my eyes. I think I saw Chimaev at one point at like minus 1,600 when I placed that bet. Cody Merrow.
I just think that's insane in MMA to have a bet that high. Like, it's fist fighting, So Nate Diaz, 21-13. I mean, absolutely just crazy long career. I mean, he's been fighting since I was in middle school. Chimaev's a year younger than I am, which is fucking scary to say. But Diaz has a 1-inch reach advantage. The guy throughout his career has proven people wrong. People come in there, they doubt Nate Diaz. He goes in there and wins. He just doesn't give a fuck. Literally does not care what anybody thinks. Takes all that negative energy like a damn Nega Goku. He just takes up all that negative energy and he absorbs it into a spirit bomb and smacks people in the face. Nate Diaz is going to go in there and he's never lost a fight in his life. Like, the rounds don't mean anything to Nate Diaz. Okay. Like, the bell doesn't end a fight. Nate Diaz is undefeated. Nate Diaz, Chael Sonnen, the only two undefeated fighters to ever live in MMA. Everybody knows this. So Nate Diaz is going to go in there. He's going to walk him down. He's going to go all 5 rounds, or he's going to put Chimaev out in his own mind, because I think Chimaev gets it done within like 3 rounds. So Chimaev for sure.
Yeah,
I love Nate, but I don't see it happening.
Yeah, I'm just hoping it's not one of those quick goes in there, like he did to them other guys, picks him up like a Li Jingliang, looks at Dana White, walks him over, throws him to the ground. Like, I don't think he's going to tab Nate out. I just think it'll be like TKO ground and pound, just because Nate doesn't really, like, we've seen it a couple times where like these guys will go on the ground. They'll allow you to take him down to the ground. They're not going to sit there and fight it. And then they'll get ground and pounded and be like, all right, whatever, I'm still tough. Like, keep hitting me. And
yeah, any
ref will step in there still, just to try to protect you. And then it's also that too, where if I'm the ref and you're seeing Chimaev's known as this RoboCop, this guy, if I see him putting Nate in a bad spot, is he going to step in too early to try to stop it, to help Nate or protect Nate? Because everybody loves Nate Diaz. And, a lot of people don't like this fight for him. So every person has a heart. So if you have like a Herb Dean watching it, who's been in the game so long, and he probably has respect for Nate Diaz, and you see Chimaev having that handcuff, is he just going to step in too early or too quick? So Nate Diaz still has that mode where you can say, well, he stopped the fight too early. I ain't lose the fight, blah, blah, blah. You never know. I feel like something weird is going to happen in that fight.
I hear you.
You'd be like, this was exactly what's going to happen. Like, that happens is, I'm saying, like, I didn't fight, man. Like, Herb jumped down, I don't know what the fuck he was doing, man. But like, I trained all week. I trained so hard for this, Like,
I had a little Tyson in there with that.
It drifted into Tyson. I mean, they're both from California, The problem is I got the best. I wish I would have saved these voice messages, because if everyone knows Kenny Florian, he has the best Nate Diaz impression. He was sending me like a couple of them in voice notes, and man, I was pissing my pants laughing. It was the funniest thing.
Well, with Diaz, Belal, I think your breakdown's very interesting. I mean, that certainly is it. If he can extend this, I really just think he has sort of a live chance. It's just fascinating to me.
His last fight, he looked pretty slow. When you're looking at him, like when he fought Masvidal came out super hard, but Masvidal had a lot of hype behind him. Masvidal is pretty fast. Chimaev's the same way. He has a lot of hype behind him. He's fast. But Masvidal was really hurting Nate with the kicks, the body kicks, the hard kicks to the body, dropping him with that. I don't think Chimaev's stand-up is honestly as good as Masvidal's. So if Chimaev goes out there, he does a lot of boxing. If he goes out there trying to box with Nate Diaz, Nate loves to box. He loves to live in that world. So, like I said, I think he just has to start attacking that ego of Chimaev, trying to make it that type of fight. And if you're Chimaev, you have a lot of pressure on you. Like, obviously, the UFC trying to build you up to be that next superstar. They're talking about you moving up to middleweight to fighting the champion next. So, like, there's a lot of pressure on you.
Definitely.
I don't think this guy feels pressure. Even in that Gilbert Burns fight where you saw him just sitting on top of the cage, just chilling with Darren Till. Like, it just tells me that the moments aren't too big for him. Like
I'm with you.
When you're undefeated, you have all that hype behind you. Like he's good with it.
In terms of people not liking the matchup for Diaz, I guess I hear that, but it's like I'm more scared to see Ferguson fight anyone at this point, if you want to know the truth, than like Diaz. Like Diaz, you know what I mean? I'm not worried. Do you know what I'm saying? Ferguson to me is like, I don't know, man. 4 in a row is a big number for me. I don't know, man. I don't know. I just hope Tony has a good showing. I'll leave it at that. Cody, you got anything else?
Especially after that last knockout loss.
Yeah,
it's not like he's been dominated those last 4, so he looked good his last fight in the first round, and I know it's just one of those things where I feel like he's trying to reach and try to figure something out because he's going from gym to gym, and it's always like, oh, now this time I'm actually sparring. I haven't sparred in 10 camps before. This time I'm actually working with the nutritionist. This time I'm actually working with Greg Jackson and the guys over there. So I had a real team behind me, and it's always an excuse behind it. So it's like sometimes you just don't believe it that you're done and your time is up. And you're just trying to figure it out. I don't like Greg Jackson. Let me try somewhere. Let me try Henry Hoof now. Let me try this guy now. And I just don't want to be that guy that's 7 or 8 in a row because the UFC is going to keep giving him fights because no matter what, he's still going to have that fan base. He's still going to have those people behind him. And you just need somebody to pull you back. And, that Joe Rogan, Brendan Schaub, like, bro, your time is done.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's a good point. You see Dave Fretz, Tony's last fight was great until it wasn't. Good stuff out of the great Dave Fretz.
Well, and I just want to jump in. Like, what if Nate does win? To both of you.
That changes everything. I don't think Nate will ever sign back with the UFC. Like they can offer. I'm pretty sure they offered him probably a boatload of money. But for Nate, his brand blows up, his promotion blows up. He's definitely gonna get some huge fight. And it'd be huge for him. But for Chimaev, where does that put you?
It's perfect. Sorry to interrupt. You just have Chimaev face Usman, and Belal Muhammad, after taking care of Brady, faces the champ Edwards at Wembley Stadium. And y'all can. Sorry.
That was not like a perfect plan right there.
I like that.
Anyway.
But man, honestly, I haven't really thought about it because, like, you're just thinking that Chimaev's gonna walk through him. There's no way Nate's gonna win. But like, we thought that with Usman and Leon. I didn't think that Leon would win, especially after that 4th round. I'm like, all right, well, who's Usman gonna fight next? Now that's what I was thinking about right away. And then bam, that happened. So anything could change. Like you said, it's a fist fight. Diaz brothers always are in any fight. So we'll see.
Well, I'm excited. Well, I'm gonna go
Last one.
Yeah.
Sorry. Got to get it in. What does it mean for McGregor versus DS3? Like, where does that go if Nate leaves the promotion? Is it a boxing match in the future? Does he come back? Like, do we never get it?
I could see that definitely being a co-promotion under Nate Diaz's show. Like, we've seen McGregor already co-promote with the UFC already. And then Dana White already knows how much money is going to be with that fight, especially if it's a boxing fight. It'll be even bigger. It could be even bigger than McGregor Mayweather. Who knows? Just because the trash talk with them, the build up, the part 3, now it's just hands. That'll be cool.
Nuts.
I mean, or it could be MMA. I mean, who's to say that Conor couldn't buy his way out of a UFC contract to get that fight? Like, they do a co-promotion at Raider Stadium. They split the profits 60, 40, 50, whatever the hell that split is. They could make a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, I was just tweeting it out the other day where I was like, Jake Paul just got big fight news. It's a Nate Diaz fight week. Conor McGregor's going to come out with something. Like, he can't let these other guys get the attention. When he's sitting on the sideline, he sees Nate Diaz getting attention. He's going to say something. He's going to do something stupid. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens soon.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Well, 43 more sleeps until Belal Muhammad makes the walk against Sean Brady. So that's where my focus lies in terms of the Ultimate Fighting Championship. I'm going to go take in some NFL for our director, Cody Merrow, and Belal Muhammad. I'm Jason Anik. We'll see you next week, 8:30 Eastern. Remember the show. We appreciate you all. Have a good night. Later.
Peace.